for the division lead. And now if Aaron Rodgers could just give me one more big game before he hits the wall Sunday night in New Orleans, we good.
Yeah, but you know what? We got to talk about the Raiders. They might be a little better than we thought, Skip.
Oh. maybe a bit better?
They might be a little better than we thought.
Okay, speaking of the Raiders, they did show us something last night, so let's break that one down. They opened their new Las Vegas stadium in a way that would have made Al Davis proud by just winning, baby. The silver and black beat New Orleans 34-24 on Monday Night Football last night and seemed in control for most of the game behind Derek Carr's 282 passing yards and 3 TDs. Well, Drew Brees did throw for 312 yards. Most of it was underneath as the Saints offense clearly missed stud wideout Michael Thomas, who did not play due to an ankle injury. So, Shannon, was last night more about the Raiders' rise or Brees' decline?
Well, I'm going to give the credit to the Raiders, Skip, and I think the Raiders might be better than I realized. I've been very critical of John Gruden, but it seems to me that he and Mike Mayock has put together a great football team.
Great?
A great. They have the makings of a very good to great football team. Skip, if you look the way they're built, their offensive line is dominant. They can run the football with Josh Jacobs and Jalen Richard. He just has to hold on to the football, but they can run the football. They got Ruggs to take the top off, and that Waller kid, he's a problem. Saints had no answer for him. They tried a linebacker, they tried safeties, they tried corners. He was just too big, too physical. They targeted him, I think, about 15 times. He had 12 catches. He's a problem. He made the Pro Bowl last year. He seems to be on his way up. He's trying to get his name in that threshold where you talk about the kid, Kelsey, and you talk about Kittle. He wants to get his name mentioned when you talk about those two guys. Hey, what about Waller? What about the Raiders? Skip, he's very good. Derek Carr, I've never been the biggest fan of his, but I think Gruden has settled him down. They put him in situations because when you can run the football, you can play action off it. And the Saints didn't help their cause with all those penalties, which was very uncharacteristic. The first two games, Skip, they're getting penalties out there, yang. And I know Sean Payton is not happy with that. Nope. But if you look at the Raiders, Skip, they were 12 of 19 on 3rd and 4th downs. They were 10 of 17 on 3rd down, 2 for 2 on 4th down. That tells me if you can't get a team off the field on 3rd down, you're going to get beat. That also tells me they're possessing the football. 36 minutes time of possession for the Raiders, 24 minutes for the Saints. And so for me, I look at it, the Saints seemed in control of this game. And then Drew threw a horrible interception right before the half. The Raiders kick a field goal. Skip, and when they came out at the half, they stepped on the gas and didn't look back. Yeah, I mean, you want to count that little touchdown late at the end of the game, and Drew got some little mop-up yards. But when they needed him to make plays, he didn't make any plays. And the thing was, he was doing a lot of fishing around the edge, 4.8 yards per attempt. Skip, that won't get it done. And so for me, I don't want to talk, we'll talk about Drew a little later, but I want to give credit to the Raiders. Defensively, I thought Paul Gunther called a great game, got Drew off his marks. They were hitting out there. They were trying to take the Saints' heads off. Physical team, fast team. It seems to me Gruden has built, he and Mike Mayock has built this team the way, and the vision that they have. They have speed and they're physical. So I like what I'm seeing for the Raiders, Skip. I undervalued them. I did not see this coming.
Okay, I'm going to address first the New Orleans Saints, more specifically Drew Brees. I am not going to write him off just yet.
Right.
And I'm going to remind everyone, for each of the last 3 years, he has set records for completion percentage.
Right.
The first 2 years, 2017 and 18, he set the all-time record, breaking his in the second year. And then he had the 3rd all-time greatest completion percentage last year.
Right.
So it's hard to argue with 74% completion because it's impossibly great.
Correct.
This year, he's dropped all the way down to 64.7%. What am I seeing from him over the last couple of years? It just looks like he has to really guts up all the effort in his body to get any oomph on his throws.
It does.
It's like, I just almost have to get a running start to get some mustard on his
It's funny that you say that, Skip, because I watched him last night and he threw the ball out of bounds. Did you see how hard he had to throw it, throw it out of the end zone?
Every throw looks like it takes all he's got left just to get something on the ball. He is so smart, obviously. He can be so accurate that he's still going to be a factor and a force through the year.
Yes.
So I'm not saying they're dead in the water
No.
because they are not. But he was without Michael Thomas last night, and Traquan Smith is just okay, and I think he was struggling a little bit with him. But more to the point, you love Jared Cook, and so do I.
Yes.
He was really quiet last night.
Yeah.
He just had a couple of catches.
Right.
We both love Emmanuel Sanders, and I don't know what's wrong with him, but he just doesn't look like Emmanuel Sanders.
Right. He and Drew, for whatever reason, haven't gotten on the same page.
They're not on the same
One
page.
catch on 4
So
targets.
He got 1 catch last night, and I can't even remember it because I just kept thinking, where is he? I thought this was his night
Yes.
to rise and
Yes.
shine
So did
on
I.
Monday Night Football because he has been, in his career, a big night, big game player. Okay, so that's New Orleans. But to your point, I thought there were times in the first quarter and even early in the second quarter, I thought this was going to be 35-14 Saints.
I did too.
That's why I can't completely write them off. Now back to your point. They ran into a buzzsaw last night in what they're now calling the Death Star, that new stadium in Las Vegas, which Ernestine and I have driven past as it was being built, and it looks like a Death Star. It is spectacular. It was empty last night.
Very fitting of Vegas.
Yep, very fitting of Vegas, except there were no people there,
right.
including Mark Davis, the owner, who said, well, if we can't have people, I'm not going to go. So he missed his first game since he was 8 years old as Al Davis's son, obviously.
Wow.
So the point is, you got to see on the national stage a coming out party for John Gruden's Oakland Raiders. I'm a big Gruden fan.
Las
You're not.
Vegas now.
Huh?
Las
Okay,
Vegas.
sorry, Oakland Raiders. But they're always in my heart. They're going to be the Oakland Raiders because I've covered them my whole life. There's a part of me that's a Raiders fan because I loved Al and I knew him and I was close with him. So they're the Oakland Raiders to me. They just happen now to reside in Las Vegas. But that's okay. But I'm going to still call them the Oakland Raiders because Raider Nation's going to think of them as the Oakland Raiders. And yet I'm a Gruden fan because I also know him and I do believe